the sad eyes. Don't be discouraged. Oh, I realize it's hard to take courage in a world full of people. You can lose sight of it all, and the darkness inside you can make you feel so small. But I see your true colors shining through. I see your true colors, and that's why I love you. So don't be afraid to let them show your true colors. True colors are beautiful, like a rainbow.
This evening we're here to remember the people we've lost to HIV, our continuing efforts to provide culturally relevant services to our community. I'm a person living with HIV, and I was diagnosed here in New York City. And I think that one of the great things at the time was that we did have a center here in New York where a Native person could go for case management services. It was very seamless for me. I was also working in the community house at the time. And I remember the day I was diagnosed, they take you into one of those horrible little yellow hospital fluorescent lit rooms to, wait for your counselor to come and talk to you from the city. And it was like they were trying to give all the support, and I was just kind of like, you know what, we have a community center. I have a place to go within my community at the American Indian Community House. That was just a really rewarding experience. It was a really comforting thing to have. And I think part of what this exhibition is about that heritage that we have as a community of taking care of our own people. Disease and indigenous peoples in this hemisphere is historically one of our greatest issues. Our struggle becomes, in this century, the recognition of our issues, the recognition of our people, and the acknowledgement that we have different and specific needs.
The project at the Community House is almost 20 years old, and it's hard to believe that, but 20 years ago when the New York City community recognized that that the epidemic had reached our doorstep, there were folks who were actually working with folks who were HIV infected and living with AIDS prior to the project. Verlaine White, our substance abuse counselor, was working with folks, and that's how I got involved. Funding-wise, many of you may know that Ryan White funding also started in the early 90s, and that's where the Community House got its first big opportunity to start providing actually direct services. And I want to acknowledge Nick Billy, who isn't here tonight, but he was the first staff person who worked with that program. And Nick really brought both his artistic but also his compassion into the work. We were on the cutting edge with a lot of that, with a lot of the outreach and the services that we were providing because of Ben and Nick, so thank you guys. And speaking of Ben and Nick, they were also founding members of Wiwap Archeampe, which we sort of came together along with Leota Lone Dog and Steve Elm, and there were others that were there as well. And that was around 1990, where we sort of got together and said, there seems to be a critical mass of gay, lesbian, two-spirit people. I don't even think we were using the term two-spirit at that point. It was something that reached us later on as we were organizing. But we got together and we decided we wanted to be able to at least talk about our identities within the Native community here in New York City. And that led to participation in the Gay Lesbian Pride March, and also organizing the first HIV conference in the nation, focusing on two spirits and HIV. We Walk continued to grow, as well as the HIV Project, which now extends upstate New York. There are sites in Buffalo, Syracuse, and at Akwesasne, which is the Mohawk Reservation. And so we're now reaching people with services that I didn't even think we would dream of being able to do back in 1990. One of the things that really distresses me is that in the world of HIV, that we're moving away from primary prevention. We're starting to only look at prevention in terms of those who are infected. And to me, I think that that's a big mistake, but policymakers usually have their way, and I don't know how we're going to change their minds. But certainly for the Native community, I think it was one of the reasons that we're not seeing the numbers that may be in other communities, is that there were grassroots activists who were there with primary prevention from the beginning. I'm not saying that people weren't friendly to the message. I'll always remember in 1985 hearing someone from the National Tribal Chairmen's Association saying that the only people who are going to get AIDS are queers and drug addicts. I think the posters show how far we've come. I was telling Kent, some of them are a little fatalistic, you know, get AIDS and die. And I think we've really moved beyond that. And I hope that the Native community will also keep up with that message, because here are examples of how creative and positive we can be as well.
I'm very happy to be here, and thank you, Curtis. Yes, we have been working down at the community house on many, many different projects over the years. And the HIV/AIDS has been one of our major concerns, and it has graduated into what we see here tonight. I was asked to come and sing an honoring song for you. And before I do, I'd just like to say a few words about what the song represents and what it's all about. I myself am from two tribes. My father is from the Hopi tribe, and my mother is from the Winnebago tribe. And this particular song comes from the Winnebago people. And I understand that originally the songs were sung in honor of the warriors many, many years ago. In fact, today at many of the gatherings among the Winnebago people, they still sing some of these songs. But down through the years, the songs now are sung as honoring songs, not just for warriors, but for people or groups that have done really outstanding work in any particular area. And so when we sing these songs today, we honor many different people and many different organizations for their work. And I remember not too long ago, it was my mother who said, you know, when you stop to think about it, most of the Native American people today are warriors in many, many different respects. There's so many things that we've had to deal with over the years, the hundreds of years that we've had to live in many kinds of conditions that have been very difficult for us, but we have survived. And I think just the fact that we've survived has put us all in the category of warriors. But tonight I'd like to sing this song in honor of the Northeast Two-Spirit Society. As Curtis has outlined already, they're doing a fantastic job. And the Community House, of course, is there to support them. The Thunderbird American Indian Dance Group is here to support them also. I remember being here not too long ago when we had a great powwow in this room. It was really one of the nicest gatherings we've ever had. And they're doing tremendous work. So tonight I'd like to sing this song in honor of the Northeast Two-Spirit Society group. And if you would please rise.